Come through with the vocals. And we ain't clipping none of it. Gotta have a little worship, a little fellowship before you know.
Yeah. God has been good, child.
Oh, always.
Yes.
All days. Even on the ones you kind of tripping.
Right. Because you do have those. You still got to praise him through it.
Right.
All right, God, I'm showing you what I can do, even in the storm.
I can hold my faith.
I know something's coming around the corner.
Unshakable. You might rock me a little bit.
I might bend. All right.
But I won't break.
Right.
It's Mother.
It's Motha Knows.
Because we be what?
Just knowing.
Always knowing. Been knowing.
And stay.
Through the end of the year.
Yes. We made it.
What? 2023 went by so fast.
It did. And I've been seeing a lot of memes like 2023 turned me every which way but loose. And I will say I don't feel that way. I don't need,
because 2020 and 2021 and 2022 turned your girl like all the way which around.
It was some years.
So 2023 was like, okay.
I can breathe a little.
I can relax a little bit, right? Yeah.
God has gotten me through. I found my strength. But yeah, I think today we want to talk a little bit about just the excitement of getting through 3 months as podcasters and all of the above, branding, because we're not just a podcast. We are all
right. Like I still don't know the like
exact term,
the label, and I don't like labels. So
right, and I don't like the idea of influencer, but I mean, I think we want to just have a platforms,
right?
Yep. That speak to the masses,
to
the people.
Yeah, just be
of the people.
Lead the people. I like that though.
You know what popped in my head?
What?
Let my people go. I'm so weird.
I don't know why Lean on Me popped in mind. Lean on me.
Right. Nah, but in 2023, we just wanted to share what we learned in these first 3 months of being who we are as Motha Knows. And thank you again. I don't think we'll ever get tired of, and we'll ever stop saying
and never gonna stop.
Right. We will never stop sharing and showing our gratitude for just taking this journey with us, because we've been learning, child.
Right. And right. And people have been like gracious and giving us grace and been patient and I think just enjoying the journey with us. Like just it being organic, and you might see us have some technical difficulties. Right. You might see us mess up a word.
Be a little raggedy in our presentation.
That part. But we're doing it.
We are.
We started and we've kept it going.
You bring up something wonderful about, people have been gracious about walking through this with our journey. They have also been very gracious and kind about giving us tips, as they see them.
Yeah.
But like really mindful that this is our baby. We're creatives, and we are all kind of sensitive about our ish, So I really appreciate y'all just kind of softly nudging us when you see something, because you're invested too, and you care about us. So thank you for that.
Yep.
But let's get into what we want to break down. I think we have 6 or so just topics that we want to talk about as we've gone through this journey. I mean, it's only been 3 months, y'all, and we feel like we're hitting our stride. Okay.
Exactly. Starting to hit it seriously, just starting to understand how we work together. Mm-hmm. I think the flow of that, right? Like how you show up, how I show up, how we balance each other out. Like some days it's like a girl.
Yeah.
Come on, girl.
Yeah. There have been definitely some days where you've been or I've been like, "Ooh, I'm trying to hold it together, trying to pull you through."
Yep. So
but I think I appreciate it too, because we know, behind the curtain, we know what's going on. So we're working with each other, and we know what's going on in each other's lives. Yeah. So we're just trying to help each other out.
And I think, again, we talked about this before, but it helps when you're with someone that is really like your person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that genuine bond, like that foundation that we have is solid. It's as solid as it can get, So just having you like there with me on this journey, I don't think I would ask for any other way. So
likewise, boo. Mm-hmm. Thanks, sis.
You're so corny.
All right. So getting into number one. We talked about this a little bit, but I just want to throw it out there. Just start.
You got to start.
Just Put your foot in. Just dip
you
your foot in the
have to
toe.
start, and that I think that's the
Your toe in
hardest
the water
step of all, like just starting, because all of these things come into your mind, like what can go wrong, am I prepared enough, will it be right, will I say the right thing, and it's like no. The answer is no. Like the answer is no.
You're gonna get it wrong.
Exactly.
You're gonna mess up a little bit.
People aren't going to see you as the expert at first. They're not going to see you as credible. Like you have to build up that relationship. You have to build up the trust.
You're gonna be out there feeling like you're on an island. Like,
right.
Anybody there?
Is anybody? Does anybody hear me?
Am I talking to anybody but her? But you really just have to start.
Like, it's just really a part of the journey. Like you're not going to avoid that phase of it. So I think once you accept it and really embrace it, because now like we'll call each other and say, girl, did you see like so and so? Did you see like, okay, we've grown this much? And I mean, I think that we've accepted the journey as what it is. And then once you see it as a beautiful thing, then it's like, all right, it really is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Before, it was a big deal for me. Like me starting something and putting myself out there and knowing like it was going to be silence.
It's scary.
Dead silence for a while. Like I was like, nope. Because I'm going to overthink it. I'm going to think that it's me. When it's not me, it's just the relationship.
I saw something that was really cool. It was another YouTuber who was just talking about the fact that they actually, their channel grew exponentially overnight. And they were like giving tips on the fact that sometimes it's a, like it's you it think it's a blessing, a gift and a curse. It could be a gift and a curse, because like it fast forwards you without going through the steps, the pain points, the learning, the growing. And she was like, really, when you're in that phase of starting and it feels like, like you just kind of doing it and putting it together, putting all your energy into it, and then maybe not a lot of response out there, but you really are learning. You have the time, you have, you don't have the eyes on you while you're learning, like she has had. So I thought that was a beautiful perspective.
And I think, to your point, when you grow so exponentially, it's like you don't really know who you're talking to. So now you don't know who your audience is.
And
you don't know
about that too.
Yeah, like you don't know who you're resonating with. And then as it becomes, bigger, or you build more content and you start to see people fall away and drop away, then that might throw you into that, that whirlwind of okay, wait, like I thought I had it. I thought I figured it out, but I really didn't.
Yeah.
Whereas where we are, it's like we're figuring it out now. And it's more, I feel like it feels more intentional to build something where, okay, we are studying the, like the data, and we'll get into that, but we're looking at really who's plugging in, which videos are resonating, like what really works for us, so we can build around that.
Yep, she talked about that a lot. When you grow overnight like that, based off of maybe one video that everybody like loved and it went viral, a lot of times there's the expectation that you're going to give that content over and over.
Yeah.
And for her, she was like, this was a video where I was just talking about, how I was growing and what you should know, and what I can share, and it just blew up. But that's not my content. My content is about lifestyle, about,
But so now you feel boxed in.
Right. And then she was like, and I was starting to see people fall off, and it kind of, it played with my mind, my psyche. So just understanding that I appreciate this journey. And I really love the process. Like I really have loved learning with you and growing through it with you.
Yes. Come on, growth.
Girl. Because we be growing.
No, seriously though, because the growth part of it is, I think, again, for me, it's like having the confidence and the self-awareness, knowing that I am who I am, right? And loving who you are, and then showing that to the world, and just being okay with who resonates, who's for it, and then who's not.
Right.
And that's a big part of growth for me, because again, I would overthink like, okay, how should I present myself so that people accept it?
Right.
Whereas it's no, present your,
just
like,
be
just
your authentic self.
Right. Be genuine, show your real self, and whoever's for you, that's really who's for you.
That's who's for you, and that's who you want.
Yep. And that's who you want.
The audience that you want, and that's the audience that God has designed for you. So don't even worry about that. I had to get out of looking so much at the numbers and just focusing on giving good content and like really enjoying it. Like I said, really enjoying the process. I think we've all seen that the idea that there are so many people out there who are super successful, who have probably half the knowledge and expertise that a lot of people who kind of hold back do.
That's true.
But they are killing it because they believe in themselves and they believe in what they have to offer. And they're not just waiting for like the perfect product. They're learning as they go.
As they go. And that leads us into the second point around consistency. When you consistently show up as that embodiment, when you consistently show up as your real self and you build consistent content around it, people have no choice but to believe it, but to agree with you at a certain point. Initially, they probably not, but over time, they start to agree with it because they see it so much,
and they see you ain't going nowhere. Like
I'm here again.
Yeah. But to that
Hello.
point, to the point of the second point of staying consistent, I love the fact that we have, and it was kind of organic. Like it wasn't really like thought out at first, other than we have been consistent with every week. We try to get some content out there and we're consistent around and we plan. I think one of the really important things about staying consistent is making sure that you have somewhat of a plan. Now, we're not rigid in our plan, but we do make sure that whenever we get together, we have to film
a few episodes,
reels, and do some reels. Yeah. And I love that we have had a solid plan. Like I said, we're not very rigid in it. And I like that too, because, we're moms, we work, things happen. And, we've been very understanding of each other when those things happen, that we just have to figure it out,
And that brings me to a question for those that are plugging in around, our episodes and our reels that we do consistently. Every time we're together, we make sure we're doing that. Is there anything that the audience could suggest, or around content, or around
anything you want to see,
topics, around material that you would want to see? Because not to say that we're going to focus and lean into that 100% and build our brand around that, but I think just knowing too what other thoughts they have,
what they gravitate
to, could help us, maybe just to expand a little bit and grow more. So just putting that question out there. If y'all have any suggestions, any recommendations,
and we just always love your input. So,
around content, just give it to us.
Yes,
all voices. Each one teach one. So
it take a village, y'all.
Right.
All the cliches. No, but it really takes a village.
Come on, Motha Knows village.
Right. We're creating something here. Right. It's coming together.
Come on, knowers. How people have that name for their audience.
Right. Not knowers.
I know.
Come on, knowers and growers. We are so corny. It's embarrassing. All right, number 3, child. Have your business together. Have your ducks in a row. And when I say have your ducks in a row, I think it's easy. There's a funny adage that it's typical that lawyers don't have wills. Lawyers don't have trust. Like you are in the business of giving all this great advice, and you yourself don't have what you're advising people to have.
That's consistent across the industry.
It is. And I bring that up to say, when you're starting out this thing, just understand, your vision. My sister and I, we have a vision that this is bigger than a podcast. And so we have our business in a row. We have registered our Motha Knows company name with our North Carolina Secretary of State. So any state has a registry, a state registry. So ours is the North Carolina Secretary of State. So we've registered our business. We have
made sure we had our logos,
got our logos together. Made sure that we got our EIN number. All this stuff is important because when you talk about the goals for your business or your podcast, you want to make sure that if your goal is XYZ, that you have a legitimate foundation so that, if anything were to happen, you can fall back on the fact that you've done everything. You've gotten your name. Nobody can steal your name. You've gotten that. You've secured your domain, so nobody can steal your, domain on the internet. Things like that are very important.
Yeah. I mean, I think you pretty much covered it. I don't have too much.
My bad.
No, I don't. I mean, that's great. I don't think I have any more to add to having your business ducks in a row. What I will say is, again, thinking about what your business is, what the market is for that, and understanding the business needs for that. So sometimes you might not need to immediately jump into a domain name, right? You might need to do something else. But I think just whatever you're starting, just making sure that you have that kind of listed out, so you can have that foundation when you do start.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our next, that was number 3. Number 4, what would you say?
I mean, I would say, okay, monetizing.
Yes.
How do you monetize?
Yeah. So when we came together, one of our goals was this is not just something that we want. I mean, this is definitely something that we enjoy. It's a passion project, but we want to make profit off of it.
Right. So, and I would, going back to planning, I would think of ways like, okay, now that I'm in this space, or I'm thinking of even getting into this space, what are some ways that I can make profit from it, right? And it's going to be different again based on industry, but for us, looking at the different platforms, looking at where we were, like putting our content and understanding, okay, we have content here. How can we monetize, from this content? How can we monetize from being or having a YouTube channel and being known as, a podcast or YouTubers? How can we monetize on Instagram and TikTok and certain things? So I think that we did do our due diligence and research around that because it changes for each platform. And so I think understanding the nuances on each platform too
is very important.
Is very important. Yeah, because that's a part of planning and understanding and being intentional about how do we build this content to make sure that it can be monetized across all platforms.
And when you realize too, once you do your research and you realize that some platforms feel a little bit more easier than others to monetize, you can also use those other platforms that may seem a little bit more difficult to springboard the platform that you're trying to monetize on. So for us, it just so happened that TikTok kind of took off for us out of nowhere, but it has also helped bring subscribers to YouTube for us.
Yeah.
And so YouTube is I would consider it maybe our main platform, if you will. But YouTube, in looking at monetizing on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Now there are some mini metrics that you can hit. Like I think it's 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. Once you hit that goal, then there are certain ways that you can like click on to monetize. But the main form of monetizing on YouTube is through ads, obviously, and you have to get that 1,000 subscriber, 4,000 watch hours to even click on the ad monetization.
Yeah.
There are other ways. Like I said, if you hit the mini mark, you can monetize by selling your own products on YouTube, things like that. But the main one is the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
And I think going back to just starting consistency, right? These are like foundational steps because remember when we were on TikTok and it just blew up out of nowhere,
right?
And then there were certain ad opportunities. We were like, wait a minute, that quick,
right? Yeah.
And so when you are enjoying the process and not building anxiety around,
it's not our driving force,
right? Like making sure that the enjoyment and the value is the driving force. It's just going to lead you to those monetization opportunities.
Yeah.
Because again, like being heads down and enjoying it when we got those opportunities, we were like
wait,
we didn't
even see it. Like we didn't even realize until it was like the deadline was over because we were just so like in the weeds of enjoying the process. But now that we know, the world, it's opening up. This social media world and the opportunities that come is opening up like crazy, actually, and it's just the beginning. Yeah, I mean, you guys see our subscriber counts. They're not like astronomical, but people like our content, which I appreciate. It's steadily growing, and people are engaging. Yeah. Like I didn't expect it to be so quick. Like outside of our family, because I love y'all. And the ones that are consistent, thank y'all for commenting every week, y'all. We need those comments. But outside of that, we're starting to get like, other engagement.
Thank you to the cousins and the aunts.
All right. And the husbands, because I'd be like, Keith, like that video.
Outside of family and friends. We come here, gather today.
The family and friends discount. But no, we appreciate y'all. Like literally continue, please.
Yeah. And I mean, we kind of, all of these are like beautiful natural segues because we've talked about so many different platforms.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So understanding the importance of what is out there, use it. Like don't box yourself into one platform. Now, okay, I will say this is based on research around how other successful, people that have major audiences and brands have done it. But also too for us, I think that it's worked for us to make sure that we don't box ourselves into one platform.
Yeah, so I would say just
there's no need to
consider.
Well, I was going to say there's no need to niche. Like
yeah.
Excuse me. There's no need to niche and box yourself into just one. Look at all platforms, consider them, and understand how they can be effective, for your brand and for your audience and how to use it.
Yeah. So let's break that down because I see that as kind of a two subparts. So the first one you said no need to niche. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the advice around starting a podcast, especially in the YouTube world, is find your thing and focus on it.
Yeah.
So whether that be it being a DIYer, home decor, lifestyle, beauty, makeup, all that stuff, find it and focus on it. But I think what we're learning is you don't have to be so narrow in your focus in order to create a nice audience that kind of gives you still good analytics back. You can create an audience who it just enjoys, the banter between sisters. That's our audience right now. People who enjoy how we interact with each other. And I think I love that because it doesn't silo us off into just talking about one thing. You know what I mean? We can talk about any topic, but they know they're always going to get two sisters that are like going back to back,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first part that I see. But the other thing you said was consider all platforms. So we started off, like Amber said, on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Again, a lot of the advice out there is to focus on one platform and try to grow that before you're growing everything else, so that you're kind of laser focused. But again, I think I like the broad approach. I like not narrowing or siloing yourself off to one thing because it just gives you a lot more options.
Well, and I think too, you have to understand again where you're starting from. So if you're already this major, major figure,
right.
Like you can have the
privilege. You already have the following
to start on one platform, and people are gonna plug in.
Yeah.
But when you're grassroots, like groundwork, like are y'all listening? Yeah.
like Amber and Ariel, who
right? Then it's like, okay, let's do every platform right that we can to make sure that we are covering more bases than just this one.
Yeah.
So and you have to understand where you're starting from.
Right. And then you like one day you'll wake up and you're like, wait a minute, why is TikTok going off like this?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. So and then I think our last tip is just we've talked about it a little bit, but there are free tools out there that can really help you just to learn. Like as we talked about, we are growing as we learn, and learning as we grow. Actually, so using those free tools like Canva and YouTube Studios, and actually just YouTube itself, watching videos that are helpful. There's so much out there. Like I'm on a normal day, if I have to change, I think I Googled and YouTube changing out my key fob battery, it's just anything.
Yeah,
but
how do I put this box screen?
Right.
Right. Random stuff.
But learning more about YouTube, paid partnerships, things like that, you can just YouTube it. Exactly. And there are so many people out there explaining what it means and how.
Yeah. And they're explaining it in a way where they're like really breaking it down. You can visually see, certain things. Like it helps you really to understand it. I would also say too, when you are on platforms like Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, if you feel inclined to, a good opportunity would be to make your account a business account because you're going to get free data from those platforms as well. It might not be as in depth as like a YouTube Studio or others, but I think that just making it a business account, you can go into the analytics and just understand your audience a little bit better. So I would definitely say like anything that you can leverage and use freely, do it.
Yeah.
Of course,
because the budget ain't big.
It takes money to make money. So
right.
Where you can budget, right, plug your budget into also understanding who's plugging in and who's resonating with your brand. But those free tools have come a long way for us. I mean, like they've given us a lot of insight.
They have. And also Canva. I got a good question, maybe like a couple weeks ago. Someone hit me up and was like, how did you create, the intro to your videos? How did you like get all that together? And Canva has been amazing. Yeah. So what I actually did was I took an afternoon and I watched a YouTuber explain how they use Canva to create their intro, their outro, any countdowns you wanted to do, adding music to your videos, how to edit in the suite in the Canva suites. So I watched that, and then I just started playing in Canva, and now we have our system, our setup. We have all our tools in Canva, so that anytime we need to add a intro or outro to our video, we can do that easily now. We have all the tools, and we save them. So but Canva creates it's a great free tool. So like anything, there are tiers. So Canva, the free tools are a little less there's not as much, but there's
as many, like, music options,
right, not
as many,
right,
like,
exactly,
options,
but there's plenty out there to get you started. And then once you get your feet wet, you can get more enhanced in what Canva has to offer.
So just thinking about, like, everything we've covered, one of the things I appreciate about having to learn these things is that when that team comes, because the team is coming,
right,
when that team comes, we will understand what those teams are doing for us, what they should be doing for us,
right, because we've done it all.
because we've done it.
Right.
When I see a lot of times, and we all see it, like when people are thrust into certain spaces that they don't understand, it's more easy for them to have to, number one, rely on people just telling them, like,
this is what you should do,
and you have to
like,
just
okay,
go along with it, right? Because you don't know any better. And sometimes that leaves you open to being taken advantage of, right? And I'm not saying that anything is 100% safeguard, but doing it this way allows us to at least have that foundation of, well, we know a little bit.
Yeah.
So
no, I like that.
This is
that's
what
a
it
good
should look like.
No, that's a good point. And I think thinking back to just how managers are created and cultivated and groomed in companies, like they usually have to go into each of the different, like, do sometimes like a little bit of a work study in each of the different areas that they're going to be overseeing, so that they understand the processes. And I think that that's basically what we're doing. We're learning it all. And I mean, we've even seen it kind of in our own walk and process now that we are trying to grow, make things a little bit more easy and streamlined. We're looking at videographers, and we know what kind of lighting we want. We want the sound. We know how the sound should sound. We want people to enhance what we've done and
what we've argued. If we can do this, like, just from our own hands,
right. A lawyer and a psychologist.
Bring us something a little more hands,
right,
like,
yeah. So I think that it just better informs us. But I think that saving the best for last, I think the last thing I want to say is, and it's really important, we tapped on it a little bit, just finding your purpose in the walk, making sure that it feels purposeful, and that you're not just we've talked about monetizing, we've talked about you want to be in it for a bigger reason than that, I think, because we know every day to day, people go to 9 to 5s, even entrepreneurs who are like hating it because that they're in it for the money and not for the passion of it, the love of it, the drive. And I feel like we are doing something that God has called us to do, and I'm excited about that.
And when you step out into your own thing, you have to have a place of passion and joy for it, because it can feel lonely. It can feel very vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
There's things,
vulnerable.
We haven't gotten into it, but there's things just like, angles and different things about yourself where you're like, ooh, child.
Like wait, that what you
y'all about to see all of this, so.
No, but you're right.
Yeah. And I hit the mic. Sorry.
Here she go. Why is it always her every time? Sorry, y'all.
I talk about my hands by now. If you don't know,
now you know.
Right? But I think too, purpose and being able to lean into a higher power, right? Like God, source, whatever you call that higher power for yourself, like making sure that you have a foundation of faith, a foundation of prayer, of meditation, of hope, of but
encouragement,
just into something that is bigger than you, that you feel can pull you through those times where it might be a little slow, it might be a little quiet, but it's coming. Like, you just have to be consistent.
Because I ain't gonna lie, when we dropped our first video, I'm like, is anybody out there?
Anybody gonna watch?
And honestly, okay, that was our thoughts before we dropped our first video. But I think whenever you're launching anything, the first couple are gonna do great. like not great, but like they might exceed expectations because people are excited for you and just want to support you.
Something new from you.
But it's like people always talk about this, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But when someone passes, everyone's there to support you in the beginning, until you hit that, right after you turn the corner of the funeral, and then it gets quiet and it gets like, who's out there? Who, like, is anybody there? Basically. And that's kind of how it feels when you're jumping into this podcast world or just doing anything new. Like when you first start out, everybody's there, everybody's excited for you. You've made the big announcement and people are there, but then it gets quiet a little bit.
Going about their lives, like they're going about their, what
and
they're
that's
doing.
Right, and that's when you have to call on the fact that this is your purpose. Yeah. And this is also, you have to call on the fact that, I promised myself I'm going to stay consistent.
I love that you said that, because I think that's really the biggest part. The biggest part of this is, how am I showing up for myself? So it's not about the external world accepting or engaging, or I said this is what I want to do.
Right.
Like, this gives
no
me
matter
purpose.
what.
This is my purpose.
Right.
This is the value that I bring. Am I going to show up for myself? Whether anyone listens or not. I think that's really where God, or again, what you call that higher power, that's where
God. I'm being silly.
Right. No,
but God.
That's where you have to build that credibility, like with God. It's
yeah, like you pray. There's so many people who pray for stuff.
Yeah.
But then when they get it, and it doesn't maybe look like what they thought it would, or feel like what they thought it would, they neglect it. What
would you learn from? Like, what would you learn if it was just
given to you? Right. I don't want to neglect what I prayed for. Right. Like, I'm tired of doing that, because we've all done it. Like, we've all prayed for something, got it, and just started complaining. I don't want to do that.
Didn't develop it, didn't grow it, groom it, whatever. And it's like, at this age, at this point, and with this purpose, I'm not doing that.
Right. I'm just tired of doing that. I'm tired of not seeing, what could happen on the other side of just pushing through.
If I just stay consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, that sums up what we've learned in these first 3 months. Y'all, it's about to be the end of 2023. I'm so grateful for this year. I'm so grateful for my sister. I'm grateful for this platform and for you all joining in and following us on the journey.
And even if you're a person that says, okay, 2023, I didn't get to where I wanted to be. I didn't start that thing today, right? Like, you have today, you have the rest of the year to at least start to build your foundation, to at least do some research, to at least start to take some notes, like doing something to plug into that thing that is your purpose. So I would just challenge everyone to, whatever your purpose is, just start.
Just start. Just do it. Just do it.
Because
I wore this shirt on purpose. And I shouldn't be shouting them out, because this ain't no paid partnership. But just do it. Don't nobody care about that.
Come on, Nike.
All right. All right, y'all. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank y'all so much, and have a good one. Bye. See y'all in 2024.
Hey, let's get it.
All right, bye, y'all.